Jake Mitchell was just a broke single dad trying to pay his daughter's hospital bills. When gunmen opened fire on a stranger, he didn't hesitate. 3 bullets tore through his body as he shielded her. He had no idea the woman he saved was a billionaire who would change everything. Before watching full story, comment below from where you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The rain hammered against the hospital windows as Jake Mitchell sat in the waiting room, his weathered hands trembling slightly as he held his phone. The screen showed 17 missed calls from his boss at the construction site. He couldn't think about work right now. His 6-year-old daughter Emma was in surgery, and the doctor's words kept echoing in his mind, "We need to operate immediately." Jake was a simple man. At 32, he had calloused hands, a tired face, and shoulders that carried the weight of being both father and mother to Emma. His wife Sarah had died in a car accident 3 years ago, leaving him to navigate parenthood alone. Every day was a struggle between paying the bills and being the parent Emma deserved. "Mr. Mitchell?" A soft voice interrupted his thoughts. He looked up to see Dr. Reynolds, Emma's surgeon, still in her scrubs. "The surgery went well. Emma is stable, but we need to keep her here for a few more days. The appendicitis was more severe than we initially thought." Relief washed over Jake like a wave. "Thank you, doctor. When can I see her?" "She's in recovery now. You can see her in about an hour." Dr. Reynolds paused, her expression growing concerned. "Mr. Mitchell, I have to ask about payment. The surgery and hospital stay will cost around $15,000. Do you have insurance?" Jake's stomach dropped. His construction job provided basic insurance, but it wouldn't cover everything. I have some insurance, but not enough for this amount." "We have payment plans available," Dr. Reynolds said kindly. "We'll work something out. Your daughter's health is what matters most." As the doctor walked away, Jake buried his face in his hands. $15,000 might as well have been 15 million. He made barely enough to cover rent, food, and Emma's basic needs. How was he going to find that kind of money? The next morning, Jake sat beside Emma's hospital bed, watching her sleep peacefully. Her blonde curls spread across the white pillow, and for a moment she looked just like her mother. The monitor beeped steadily, a sound that should have been comforting but only reminded Jake of the growing debt. "Daddy?" Emma's voice was small and scratchy. "Hey, princess. How are you feeling?" Jake leaned forward, brushing a curl from her forehead. "My tummy hurts, but not like before. The nice lady doctor said I'm getting better." Emma tried to sit up, wincing slightly. "Daddy, why do you look sad?" Jake forced a smile. "I'm not sad, sweetheart. I'm happy you're okay. That's all that matters." But Emma was smart for her age. She could see through his fake smile. "Are you worried about money again?" The question hit Jake like a punch to the chest. He tried so hard to shield Emma from their financial struggles, but children notice everything. "Don't worry about that, Em. Daddy will figure it out." "I heard the nurses talking," Emma whispered. "They said the surgery costs lots of money." "I'm sorry, Daddy. I didn't mean to get sick." "Emma Rose Mitchell," Jake said firmly, using her full name like he did when she needed to listen carefully. "Don't you ever apologize for being sick. You are the most important thing in my world. Money doesn't matter. You do." Emma smiled weakly and closed her eyes again. Jake kissed her forehead and whispered, "Sleep now, princess. Daddy will take care of everything." But as he sat there watching her sleep, Jake had no idea how he would keep that promise. 2 days later, Jake was walking through downtown, heading to the bank to discuss a loan he probably wouldn't qualify for, when chaos erupted around him. A black SUV swerved violently down the street, tires screaming against asphalt. Behind it, another car was in pursuit, men hanging out the windows with guns. People screamed and scattered in all directions. Jake instinctively looked around for cover when he saw her, a woman in an elegant dress stumbling out of a coffee shop, completely disoriented by the chaos. She was beautiful, with dark hair and frightened eyes, but what caught Jake's attention was the danger she was in. The SUV had crashed into a parked car just 20 feet from where she stood. 3 men with guns were getting out, clearly looking for someone. Their eyes locked onto the woman, and Jake realized she was their target. Everything slowed down. Jake saw the first gunman raise his weapon toward the terrified woman. Without thinking, without hesitation, Jake ran. He had been a high school football player once before life got complicated and muscle memory kicked in. He tackled the woman to the ground just as the first shot rang out. The bullet meant for her chest hit Jake in the shoulder instead. Pain exploded through his body, but he stayed on top of the woman, shielding her with his body. "Stay down," he shouted as 2 more shots fired. He felt the second bullet tear through his arm and the third grazed his ribs. Blood was everywhere, but Jake didn't move. He kept the woman protected beneath him until the sound of police sirens grew loud and the gunman fled. When it was finally safe, Jake rolled off the woman, his vision blurring from blood loss. She was staring at him with wide, tear-filled eyes. You saved my life," she whispered. "You don't even know me and you saved my life. Are you okay?" Jake managed to ask through gritted teeth. "I'm fine, but you're hurt badly. Oh God, there's so much blood." She was crying now, her hands hovering over his wounds, afraid to touch them. The paramedics arrived quickly. As they worked on Jake, the woman held his hand. "What's your name?" she asked. "Jake Mitchell," he said weakly. "I'm Victoria Sterling." "Jake, why did you do that? You could have been killed." Jake's vision was fading, but he managed to smile. "I have a daughter. She's 6. Someone needs to be there for her. But that doesn't mean I couldn't make sure you get to go home to whoever is waiting for you." Those were the last words Jake spoke before losing consciousness. Jake woke up in the hospital 3 days later. His shoulder was in a sling, his arm was bandaged, and his ribs ached with every breath. The first thing he thought of was Emma. "Daddy?" Emma's voice filled the room as she ran to his bedside, careful not to bump his injuries. "You're awake. I was so scared." Jake's neighbor, Mrs. Peterson, had been watching Emma during his hospital stay. The elderly woman stood in the doorway with tears in her eyes. "The whole city is talking about what you did, Jake. You're a hero." "I'm not a hero," Jake said softly, pulling Emma close with his good arm. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," said a voice from the doorway. "What you did was extraordinary." Jake looked up to see Victoria Sterling entering the room. She looked different from that chaotic day, composed, elegant, but her eyes still held the same gratitude and something else Jake couldn't identify. "How are you feeling?" she asked, approaching his bed. "I'm fine. How are you? Are you safe?" Victoria smiled softly. "Yes, thanks to you. The men who attacked me were sent by my ex-husband. He's not a good man. But the police have him now." She sat down in the chair beside his bed. "Jake, I need to tell you something. My name is Victoria Sterling. My family owns Sterling Industries." Jake had heard of Sterling Industries, everyone had. They were one of the biggest companies in the country, worth billions. "I want to pay for your medical bills," Victoria continued. "All of them. And I want to do more." "That's not necessary," Jake said quickly. "I didn't save you for money. I know you didn't. That's exactly why I want to help." Victoria's eyes were earnest. "Jake, you took 3 bullets for a complete stranger. You have a daughter who needs you and you still risked everything for me. That kind of selflessness is rare." Emma had been listening quietly, but now she spoke up. "Are you rich, lady?" "Emma?" Jake scolded gently. But Victoria laughed. "It's okay. Yes, Emma, I am. And I want to help your daddy because he's the bravest man I've ever met." Over the next week, Victoria visited Jake every day. She paid for all his medical bills without question. She also quietly took care of Emma's surgery costs, which Jake only discovered when the billing department told him his account was paid in full. But more than the money, Victoria seemed genuinely interested in Jake and Emma's lives. She brought books for Emma and spent hours talking with both of them. Jake found himself looking forward to her visits in a way that both thrilled and terrified him. Victoria was beautiful, intelligent, and kind. She was also a billionaire who lived in a world Jake couldn't even imagine. What could she possibly want with a construction worker and his daughter? "You're thinking too hard," Victoria said one afternoon as they sat in the hospital garden while Emma played nearby. "About what?" Jake asked, though he knew exactly what she meant. "About why I keep coming here. About why I enjoy spending time with you and Emma." Victoria turned to face him. "Jake, in my world, people do things for money, for connections, for what they can gain. You took 3 bullets for me and asked for nothing in return. Do you have any idea how extraordinary that is?" Jake shrugged, uncomfortable with the praise. "I just did what was right." "Exactly. That's my point." Victoria watched Emma chasing butterflies among the flowers. "She's beautiful. She looks like you." "She looks like her mother," Jake said quietly. "Tell me about her." So Jake did. He told Victoria about Sarah, about how they met in high school, about their dreams and plans, about the accident that shattered everything. He told her about the struggles of single parenthood, about working double shifts and still barely making ends meet, about lying awake at night worrying about Emma's future. Victoria listened to every word, and Jake realized he hadn't talked to another adult about these things in 3 years. It felt good to share the burden, even just through words. "I lost my parents when I was young," Victoria said softly. I was raised by nannies and boarding schools. I never knew what a real family looked like until I watched you with Emma. The way she looks at you, trusts you completely, it's beautiful. When Jake was discharged from the hospital, Victoria insisted on driving them home. She pulled up to their small apartment building and got out to help with Jake's bag. "This is it," Jake said, suddenly embarrassed by the contrast between Victoria's world and his own. The building was old, the paint was peeling, and the neighborhood wasn't the best. But Victoria didn't seem to notice any of that. She was focused on Emma, who was excitedly telling her about her dollhouse upstairs. "Can Victoria see my room, Daddy?" Emma asked. Jake hesitated. "Maybe Victoria is busy, Em?" "I'd love to see your room," Victoria said immediately. So they climbed the 3 flights of stairs to Jake's 1-bedroom apartment. It was small but clean, with Emma's drawings covering the refrigerator and her toys neatly organized in a corner of the living room. "I sleep in the big bed with Daddy," Emma announced, showing Victoria the bedroom. "Daddy says when I'm bigger I can have my own room." Victoria's heart ached at the simple statement. This little girl and her father had so little, yet Emma spoke with such happiness and pride about their small home. In the kitchen, while Emma showed Victoria her drawings, Victoria noticed the stack of bills on the counter. Even from a distance she could see "Final Notice" stamped on several envelopes. "Jake," she said quietly, "can I talk to you for a moment?" They stepped into the hallway while Emma continued coloring. "I saw the bills," Victoria said directly. "You're behind on rent and utilities." Jake's face reddened. "That's not your concern." "Yes, it is." "Jake, you're struggling because you missed work while in the hospital because you saved my life." Victoria's voice was firm but gentle. "Let me help. I don't want charity." "It's not charity. It's a thank you." "And besides," Victoria smiled, "I have a business proposition for you." "What kind of proposition?" "I need a head of security for my personal protection. Someone I can trust completely. The job pays $200,000 a year, plus health insurance, plus housing." Jake stared at her. "Victoria, I'm a construction worker, not a security expert. You're a man who took 3 bullets for a stranger. That tells me everything I need to know about your character. The rest can be learned." "I can't accept that. It's too much." Victoria stepped closer. "Jake, for the past week I've watched you with Emma. You're an amazing father. You deserve security and stability. Emma deserves a college fund and a safe place to live. This isn't charity, it's giving you the opportunity to use your natural protective instincts in a job that can support your family properly." Jake was quiet for a long moment. "Why are you really doing this?" Victoria took a deep breath. "Because in my world of fake smiles and hidden agendas, you and Emma are real. Because when I'm with you, I remember what goodness looks like. Because..." She paused, her voice growing softer. "Because I think I'm falling in love with both of you." The admission hung in the air between them. Jake's heart pounded as he processed her words. "Victoria, we're from completely different worlds." "Are we?" "We're both people who've lost someone we loved. We're both trying to build something meaningful from the pieces. We both care about Emma's happiness." Victoria's eyes were earnest. "Jake, I know this is complicated. I know there are obstacles. But what we have, this connection, it's real. I haven't felt anything real in years." Before Jake could respond, Emma appeared in the doorway. "Are you going to be my new mommy?" she asked Victoria with the directness only children possess. Both adults froze. Victoria knelt down to Emma's level. "Would you like that, sweetheart?" Victoria asked gently. Emma nodded vigorously. "Daddy gets sad sometimes when he thinks I'm not looking. And you make him smile for real, not fake smile like he does when he's worried about money." Out of the mouths of babes. Jake realized that his 6-year-old daughter had seen what he was trying to hide from himself. That Victoria made him happy in a way he hadn't been since Sarah died. That night, after Emma was asleep, Jake and Victoria sat on his small balcony talking until dawn. They talked about their fears, their dreams, their hopes for the future. Victoria told Jake about the loneliness of her wealth, how people always wanted something from her, how she'd given up on finding genuine love. Jake told Victoria about his guilt over Sarah's death, his fears about not being enough for Emma, his dreams of giving his daughter better opportunities. "I want to try," Jake said finally as the sun was rising. "I want to try to make this work, whatever this is." Victoria smiled, the first completely unguarded smile Jake had seen from her. "I want that too." 3 months later, Jake was settling into his new job as Victoria's head of personal security. He'd undergone intensive training and discovered he had a natural aptitude for protection work. More importantly, Emma was thriving in their new environment. Victoria had provided them with a beautiful guest house on her estate. Emma had her own room, decorated in princess pink, and a yard to play in. She was enrolled in an excellent school and had made new friends. But the best part was watching Emma and Victoria together. Victoria had never been around children before, but she and Emma connected instantly. Victoria helped with homework, read bedtime stories, and attended every school event. She was patient, loving, and genuinely interested in Emma's world. For Jake, watching Victoria with his daughter was both wonderful and terrifying. He could see how much Emma was growing to love Victoria, and that scared him. What if this didn't work out? What if Victoria got tired of playing house with a construction worker and his kid? His fears came to a head one evening when Victoria's social circle was invited to the estate for a charity gala. Jake watched from the security room as Victoria moved effortlessly through the crowd of wealthy, sophisticated people. She was in her element, beautiful, elegant, commanding. He saw the men who approached her throughout the evening. Men with Harvard degrees and trust funds, men who could offer her a life without complications. Men who belonged in her world. "Daddy, why are you sad again?" Emma asked, appearing in the doorway. Jake quickly wiped his eyes, not realizing he'd been crying. "I'm not sad, princess." "Yes, you are. You get that look when you think Victoria is going to leave us." Emma was too perceptive for her own good. She climbed onto Jake's lap and hugged him tight. "Victoria loves us, Daddy. She told me." "When did she tell you that?" "Yesterday when we were making cookies. I asked her if she was going to stay forever, and she said she loved us too much to ever leave." Jake held Emma close, wanting to believe it was that simple. Later that night, after the guests had left and Emma was in bed, Victoria found Jake on the terrace. "You've been avoiding me all evening," she said, sitting beside him. "Just doing my job." "Jake, look at me." When he finally met her eyes, Victoria's expression was serious. "What's wrong?" "I watched you tonight with those people. You fit with them. You're comfortable in that world. And I'm not. I'm a construction worker from the wrong side of town. Emma and I were novelties to you. But eventually you'll want someone who belongs in your world." Victoria was quiet for a long moment. "Do you want to know what I was thinking about all night while I was talking to those people?" Jake nodded. "I was thinking about how Emma helped me make pancakes this morning and got flour in her hair. I was thinking about how you sing off-key in the shower but Emma loves it anyway. I was thinking about how you both wait up for me when I have late meetings, even though you don't have to." Victoria took Jake's hands in hers. "Those people you saw me with tonight? I've known most of them for years, but I couldn't tell you any of their children's names or what makes them truly happy or what keeps them awake at night. But I know that Emma's favorite color is purple and that she's afraid of thunderstorms but not spiders. I know that you lie awake worrying about whether you're a good enough father and that you still miss your wife but you're learning to be happy again." She stood up and walked to the terrace railing. "Jake, I spent 30 years in that world searching for something real. You and Emma are the realest thing I've ever found. I'm not going to give that up for people who only see my bank account." Jake joined her at the railing. "I'm scared," he admitted. "I'm scared of how much Emma loves you. I'm scared of how much I love you. I'm scared that this is too good to be true." "I love you too," Victoria said softly. "I love your strength and your kindness and your dedication to Emma. I love how you make me laugh and how safe I feel with you. I love the man who took 3 bullets for a stranger and asked for nothing in return." Jake pulled Victoria into his arms and for the first time in years he felt truly at peace. 6 months later, on a beautiful spring morning, Jake woke up to Emma jumping on his bed. "Daddy? Daddy?" Victoria said yes. "Yes to what, Em?" Jake asked, though his heart was already racing. "To marrying us." Victoria appeared in the doorway, her face glowing with happiness. "I hope you don't mind that Emma asked for both of us." Jake laughed, pulling them both onto the bed. "What exactly did she ask?" "I asked Victoria if she wanted to be our family for real," Emma said proudly. "And she said yes." "Well," Jake said, looking at Victoria with all the love he'd been afraid to show, "I guess I better make it official then." He reached into his nightstand drawer and pulled out a small velvet box. Victoria gasped as he opened it to reveal a simple but beautiful engagement ring. "I know it's not as fancy as what you could buy yourself," Jake said nervously, "but I wanted to choose it myself. Victoria Sterling, will you marry me? Will you be Emma's mom and my wife?" Through tears of joy, Victoria nodded. "Yes. Yes to all of it." As Jake slipped the ring onto Victoria's finger, Emma clapped her hands with delight. "Now we're a real family." Looking at his daughter's beaming face and Victoria's tearful smile, Jake realized that Emma was right. They were a real family, not because of blood or law but because of love, sacrifice and the choice to stand by each other through everything. A year later, at their wedding, Jake looked out at the small gathering of friends and family. Mrs. Peterson was there, crying happy tears. Victoria's few genuine friends had come to celebrate. Emma stood proudly as the flower girl, wearing a princess dress that Victoria had designed especially for her. As Jake and Victoria exchanged vows, he thought about the day that changed everything. 3 bullets had nearly ended his life, but they had also led him to a love he never imagined possible. He had saved Victoria's life that day, but in return she had saved his and Emma's in every way that mattered. "I promise to love and protect both of you for the rest of my life," Victoria said, looking at Jake and Emma. "You gave me a family when I thought I would always be alone." Jake's vows were simple but heartfelt. "You showed me that love can happen twice in a lifetime. You gave Emma a mother and gave me a partner. I will spend every day proving worthy of that gift." As they kissed to seal their marriage, Emma cheered loudly, making everyone laugh. Later, as they danced at the reception, Victoria whispered to Jake, "Do you ever regret it? Taking those bullets?" Jake looked around at their wedding celebration. Emma dancing with Mrs. Peterson, his new wife in his arms, a future full of possibilities ahead of them. "Never," he said firmly. "Those 3 bullets brought me everything I never knew I needed." Emma ran up to them, tugging on Victoria's dress. "Can I dance with my new mommy and daddy?" They lifted Emma between them, and as they swayed to the music, Jake realized that sometimes the most beautiful things in life come from the most unexpected moments. He had been a single dad struggling to survive, and now he was a husband and father in a family built on love, sacrifice and second chances. The little girl who had been afraid her daddy was sad had a mother who adored her. The man who had been terrified of not being enough had found a woman who loved him exactly as he was. And the woman who had been surrounded by wealth but starved for genuine love had found her home in the arms of a man who proved that true richness had nothing to do with money. As the music played and his family danced together, Jake smiled. 3 bullets had changed everything, proving that sometimes the most painful moments lead to the most beautiful beginnings. Emma looked up at her parents, her face glowing with pure happiness. "This is the best day ever," she announced. Jake and Victoria looked at each other and knew she was absolutely right. It was the best day ever, and it was just the beginning of their beautiful life together. Years later, when people asked Jake about that day downtown when he saved Victoria Sterling's life, he would always correct them. "I didn't save her life," he would say, looking at his wife and daughter with eyes full of love. "She saved mine." And Emma, now grown but still daddy's little girl, would add with a smile, "No, you both saved each other. And you saved me too. Because that's what real families do. They save each other, one act of love at a time."